Good morning student, myself Bina Tripathi, I am your SSG teacher. Welcome to the new academic year online class. This is your geography textbook standard 8. Friends, today I am going to explain you geography chapter 3rd, humidity and cloud. Humidity means what? The amount of water vapor present in the air is called humidity, and humidity is in the invisible form. Cloud means what? Cloud means a mass of fine particles of ice and water accumulated around the dust particles in the air at high altitude is called a cloud. Cloud are in the visible form. That means student, you can see the cloud in the sky. Can you tell? Look at the picture shown in figure 3.1. Discuss the weather conditions shown in this picture in the class and write the description in the box below. See the students, there are three pictures are there in figure 3.1 and different in this picture different in different place, and the weather condition also different. See the first picture, that man and lady both are making the conversation. It is very sunny today, the winds has stopped blowing, I foresee sandstorm, let's go quickly inside the house. Yes, even I feel the same, come let's go fast. That means student, the man saying to the lady, it is very sunny today, the wind has stopped blowing. That means the wind was not blowing. I foresee. Foresee means what? Be aware of beforehand. To know in advance what is going to happen. Sandstorm means a strong wind carrying cloud of sand with it, especially in a desert place. And let's go quickly inside the house. That lady replied that yes, even I feel same, come let's go fast. See students, when you are observing this picture, you can see the picture, the weather condition in this place is dry and hot, and this is Rajasthan, Thar desert place. See the second picture, that two men are talking with each other, they both are making the conversation. Buddy, it is very hot today, yes Soham, I am literally shocked because of the sweat. That means by seeing this picture, you can see that in this place weather condition is hot and humid. And buddy, it is very hot today, yes Soham, I am literally shocked. Shock means what? Extremely wet. And sweat means what? Moisture exuded through the pores of the skin. So when you see the picture, you observe that in this place weather condition is hot and humid. This is coastal city Mumbai. See the third picture student, mother and their children. Mother calling to their children that children come fast, wear your sweater and then play again. Mommy please wait, let us play please. Mother saying that come and wear the sweater and then you play that. And that their children saying that mommy please wait, let us play please. So what you are observing student, by seeing this picture, their weather condition is cold and dry, Kashmir, Himalaya, mountains. So this way in figure first, second and third picture we see about that their weather condition is different in different place. Just go through the geographical explanation. Generally we keep talking about the weather condition. We can identify the weather condition through the conversation above. So you see about the picture, in the three picture there, with the help of the conversation we come to know about that what types of their weather condition. We experience the dampness means wetness, and dryness in the air throughout the year. So we experience that the wetness, the dampness, wetness means dampness or dryness in the air throughout the year. The changes occurring in the weather condition, desert areas, coastal areas and mountainous areas is evident. Evident means visible from the figure. See that Rajasthan lies in a region with dry and hot air. Because Rajasthan, their desert place, lies in a region with a dry and hot air. There is hardly any moisture in the air. Means there is very hardly moisture in the air. People are wear that place loose cotton cloth. Kashmir Valley lies in the region with cold and dry air. Kashmir place, their valley lies region with a cold and dry air. Moisture is minimal in the air, means very less in the air, and people cover themselves with warm clothes. That means they wear the sweaters. And next, in Mumbai, you know that the air is hot and humid. There the proportion of moisture is very high in the air. In addition, if dark clouds cover the sky, the content of moisture in the air increases, because the amount of moisture is very high in the air. And in addition, if the dark cloud cover the sky, the content of moisture in the air increases. Okay. About discussion, the words hot, moist, cool, etc. show the condition of the air. That means it is showing the condition of the air. They relate to the content of the moisture in the air, and this will be related to the content of the moisture in the air. Moisture in the air is invisible, means we can't see the moisture in the air, it is invisible. But it is the major component of air which is taken into the consideration while discussing the weather of any place, and this way it is a major component of air which is taken the consideration while discussing the weather of any place. See the student, for precipitation, you know precipitation means what? Falling product of condensations within the atmosphere as rain, snow or hail. So for precipitation to occur in any place, presence of moisture in the air is very important, and this way we can say that precipitation to occur any place, presence of moisture in the air is very important. Think about it. During winter, when you excel on the glass of a mirror, what happens if you try to do this in summer? Why does not this happens? See the students, in winter, the moisture holding capacity of air is low due to low temperature. Therefore, when we excel on the glass or on the mirror, the condensation of water vapor present in the exhaled air take place, as it effect very thin water drops are found on the glass of mirror. And in summer, the moisture holding capacity of air is high due to high temperature. Therefore, when we exhale on the glass of mirror, the water vapor present in the exhaled air get absorbed in air. Therefore, no water drops are found on the glass of mirror. So these are the differences are there. Evaporation. Evaporation is the process of converting water into steam or water vapor. Means evaporation means what, student? Water turn into the steam or water vapor. Because of the sun's heat, the water on the earth get converted into water vapor. That means the earth, planet, water in the river or sea, the water on the earth get converted into the water vapor because of the sun's heat. The process of evaporation is dependent on the dryness, temperature and the speed of the wind. So this process is dependent on the dryness, temperature and the speed of the wind. See student, if the air is dry and hot, the rate of evaporation increases. What is important things are there? If air is dry and hot, the rate of evaporation will be increases. The process of evaporation also continue even in dry and cold air also. That means it will not stop. The evaporation also continue even in dry and cold air. But what is important things are there? When air is dry and hot, the rate of evaporation will be increases. On the other hand, evaporation occur very slowly in moist air. So see the student, evaporation occur very slowly. Which place? In the where air will be moist. And if the velocity and the temperature of the air is high, then evaporation occurs rapidly. When your velocity, speed and the temperature of the air is high, then what happens? That evaporation occurs rapidly, means fastly. And if the wind is blowing slowly and air is cooler, then evaporation occurs slowly. So these are the differences are there. That means evaporation occurs very slowly in moist air. If the velocity and temperature of the air is high, then evaporation occurs rapidly, means fastly. If the wind is blowing slowly and the air is cooler, then evaporation occurs slowly. So these are the differences are there. In the air, the proportion of water vapor in the air is called its humidity. Means student, the amount of water vapor present in the air is called humidity. The dryness or dampness means what? Wetness of air depends on the proportion of water vapor. So it is totally depends on the proportion of water vapor. Air can hold moisture in specific quantity at a specific temperature only. That means it will hold the moisture in a specific quantity and depends on the specific temperature. As air cools down, its holding capacity reduces. When air will cools down, then what happens that moisture holding capacity will be less, reduced. This implies that warmer air can hold more moisture than cold air. What is important, student, in this? When air will be warmer, can hold more moisture than the cold air. Cold air will not hold more moisture. That means when air will be cool, the moisture holding capacity will be less. And where air will be warm, then moisture holding capacity will be more. That is, the difference are there. But at the certain temperature, the moisture holding capacity of the air becomes equal to the proportion of moisture present in it. What happened that at a certain temperature, the moisture holding capacity of air becomes equal to the proportion of moisture present in it. This condition of the air is called as saturation of the air. On that time, what happened, we can say that when the moisture holding capacity of air becomes equal means same to the proportion of moisture present in it, this condition of the air is called saturation of the air. Saturation means what, student? The act of completely soaking something until it's absorbed as much water as it can. So that is, we can say, the saturation of the air. Now try this. See, the student activity is given here. Carry out the following activity in a group. You have to do this in a group. Take a colander tray which is deeper in the center. You can see the picture, you can come to know about that, which is deeper in the center. Take a piece of sponge. Sponge means what? A substance that is full of holes, soft when wet and able to absorb a lot of liquid. That means it is used for washing or cleaning, or we can say that it will absorb water. On the flat part of the tray, make holes with the help of nails. You may make the hole on the flat part of the tray. Which tray are there? Make holes with the help of nails. Keep the sponge on the center of the tray colander. Now keep the sponge on the center. Make sure there is no water in the sponge. So make that surety that in the sponge there will be no water. Pour water on the sponge with a big spoon. That means with the help of the big spoon, pour the water on the sponge. The student in the group should note how many spoons of water have been poured. And also you have to note down that how much spoon, 5, 6, 7, it means you have to count it that, and you have to note down that how much spoon, that means how many spoon of the water have been poured on that sponge. Keep pouring water with the spoon till the sponge become wet with water. So you have to put it that keeping pouring water with the spoon till the sponge becomes wet with water. And note what happens if you keep pouring water even after that. Note, answer the following question. See the student, is activity, see the table how the sponge was put in the tray, that's center, and tray with the hole. That means in the tray, see that make holes with the help of the nails. Can you see that clearly? Figure 3.2. And see the student 3.3, how that student was putting with the help of the spoon water and make them that sponge. That means it becomes wet with water. And you also note down what happens if you keep pouring water even after that. Okay, students. See figure 3.3. Now some questions are there. So we discuss these questions also. Answer. What happened to the water which was poured initially? See the students, the water which are poured initially was absorbed in the sponge. Means whatever water that student was putting with the help of the spoon, what happened, that sponge was absorbed that water. Next, when you are pouring water on the sponge, what did you expect? That means when you are pouring the water on the sponge, what did you expect that? We expected that water will trickle out from the sponge. So what we expect that it will be trickle. Trickle means what? To flow or fall by drop. So we expect that it will be trickle. Next, what happened when you poured more water on the sponge? See student, when we pour more water on the sponge, the water trickle out from the sponge. What happened that? Now the water trickled out from the sponge. Now next, what conclusion can you draw from this? So with the help of this, after certain limits, the water holding capacity of the sponge gets ended and it becomes saturated. So that are the conclusion. That means after certain limits, the water holding capacity of the sponge gets ended and it becomes saturated. Student, figure 3.5, we can see clear cut that the sponge is totally full of water and instead of drop of water start trickling out. You can see that from that sponge water started trickling in a drop. Now let's see the geographical explanation. Let's suppose that the air is like a piece of sponge. You have to assume that air is like a piece of sponge. How many spoons of water does the sponge absorb? Now student, you have to, when we are making the activity, you have to make that counted that how many spoons of water does the sponge absorb. After the sponge is full of water, drops of water start trickling out. When it is totally full of water, now sponge will not absorb more water. Now it was totally full and started drop of water start trickling out. One can tell the number of spoons of water required to make the water trickle down the sponge by observation. I mean, with the help of the observation, we come to know about how much spoon of water it was we can pour into the sponge. And when it is full of water, drops of water start to trickling. This implies that the water holding capacity of sponge is fulfilled. And this way we come to know about by observing that when the water started trickling down the sponge by observation. So this implies that the water holding capacity of sponge is fulfilled. This makes it saturated. Similarly, when the proportion of moisture in the air exceed means be more than its vapor holding capacity, precipitation in the form of rain or snow occurs on the earth. You know that is students, some place rain is pouring, some suppose which are the, let me say Kashmir place, snowfall will be there. So this way it was means I have to say about that with the help of the precipitation in the form of some place rain and some place snow occur on the earth. And similarly, when the proportion of moisture in the air exceeds its vapor holding capacity, precipitation in the form of rain or snow occurs on the earth. The moisture holding capacity of the air depends on its temperature. That is very important, but depends on the temperature. Higher the temperature, higher is the holding capacity. We have learned earlier that as we go higher in the sky, the air becomes cooler. When we go, that means we have learned earlier that as we go higher in the sky, the air becomes cooler. So as per this rule, as we go higher, the vapor holding capacity of the air will decrease. The following table will make it clear. See students, at 15 degrees Celsius, the capacity of 1 cubic meter air is to be hold 12.8 gram of moisture. Can you see about that? See the table, give it try. And if this amount of vapor is present in the air is said to be saturated. This humidity in the air is expressed in different way. So see that 15 degree temperature of the, let me see the temperature of the air, 0 degree to see the counter -5, 0, 5, 10, 15. So 50 place vapor holding capacity gram, see that 12.83. And if this amount of vapor in the present in the air is said to be saturated. This humidity in the air is expressed in different way. See student, in this give it a try, and always remember it is totally cancelled. No need to read this. Absolute humidity, the amount of water vapor in 1 cubic meter of air is the absolute humidity of the air. For examples, the absolute humidity of air near coastal area is higher than air in the interior. That means student, what is very important in this, the amount of water vapor in 1 cubic meter of air is the absolute humidity of the air. And example, absolute humidity of the air near coastal area is higher than the air in the interior, means land area. Absolute humidity is higher in the equatorial areas, and while it reduces as we move towards the pole. Pole means North Pole and South Pole. So what is very important here, absolute humidity coastal area is higher compared to the land areas, and absolute humidity is higher in the equatorial place, and while it reduces as we move towards the North Pole and South Pole. And say the student, use your brain power is totally cancelled, it is not in your syllabus. The distributions of land and water on earth and the seasons also affect absolute humidity. And what is very important, the distributions of land and water on earth and the seasons also affect the absolute humidity. Now next, relative humidity. The amount of water vapor present in air can be expressed as a percentage of the amount needed for saturation at the same temperature and same value. It is expressed in percentage. See the student that relative humidity is expressed in percentage. See that relative humidity RH percentage equal to absolute humidity upon vapor holding capacity into 100. Two questions are given here. What will be the relative humidity of air whose absolute humidity is 20 gram per meter cube and vapor holding capacity is 30 gram per meter cube? So what to do, student, that relative humidity equal to absolute is how much? 20 upon, and vapor holding capacity is 30. 20 upon 30 into 100. So if you can do that, you can get the answer. So that will be the relative humidity. And next question is, if the absolute humidity of the air is 15 gram per meter cube and the vapor holding capacity is 15 gram per meter cube, then what is the relative humidity of the air? Same. This question also same, student, but number are same in this. In this, what you have to do, that relative humidity equal to absolute upon vapor holding capacity into 100. That means absolute humidity, how much? It is 15, and vapor holding capacity also 15, 50 over 50 into 100. So if I make the multiplication afterward, you get the answer. So that will, whatever you answer you get, that is your relative humidity. Say that now think about it. It is totally cancelled. Now see that amount of water vapor changes according to difference in temperature. Yes, the amount of water vapor changes according to different temperature. Similarly, relative humidity also change. Generally, relative humidity is more in the morning and night. See, student, morning and night, the relative humidity is more. In the afternoon, as the temperature increases, relative humidity decreases. It is totally opposite. It means temperature will increase, then relative humidity will be decreased. And near coastal areas, the relative humidity is more, so the air is moist. In desert area, relative humidity is less. So that is very important. That means in morning and night, what happens that this relative humidity is more, and afternoon the temperature increases and relative humidity decreases. And in the coastal areas, the relative humidity is more, and so the air is moist, and desert area it is less, relative humidity is less. Now try this. The teacher should make two groups of the student in the class. The first group should do the following activities under supervision of the teachers carefully. See figure 3.4. See the student, take water in a pressure cooker. You know pressure cooker, your mother use that to cook the food, that means rice, dal. Normally we are using the pressure cooker. So in this activity, what is there? Students are there. Take water in a pressure cooker. Take off the whistles of the pressure cooker. Now heat the cooker, means remove the whistles, and now heat the cooker. Take a lid with a handle. After the water start boiling, hold the lid at a distance from where the steam is coming out. When you realize that now the water start boiling, hold the lid at a distance from where the steam is coming up. See the what you are observing that. See that whistles was not there, how the steam is coming outside. Can you see that? Okay, in figure 3.5. Observe what happens. See the student, observe that what happens, that you must have observed that water change into water vapor after it was heated. That means in a water, that whistle is not there. Can you see that from the pressure cooker? And you observe that water change into water vapor when after it was heated. Without heated, that water will not change into the water vapor. So that is very, very important. You can see the steam how coming from the pressure cooker. Okay, students. Now figure 3.6a. This vapor turns into water droplets when it touches the cooler lid. And when it was what happened, that vapor turned into the water droplets, and when it touches the cooler lid, we can see the water droplet deposited on the lid. See that how the drops are there, water droplets. Can you see clearly on the glass that you can use there? See that we can see the water droplet deposit on the lid. Group should carry out the following activities. See figure 3.6a. Take a glass with flat bottom, put some ice cubes in it, keep this glass in a room for 2 to 3 minutes. What did you see? See figure 3.6b student. Is sometimes you will see droplets of water on the outer surface of the glass. See figure 3.6b. When the water vapor in the air comes in contact with the cold surface, then what happens? Condensation take place, and these droplets form on the outer surface of the glass, and that you can see about that droplets form on the outer surface of the glass. In the first activity, the steam from the cooker cooled and condensed into water droplets. That means first activity, what you observe student, that the steam from the cooker cooled and condensed into water droplets. And in the second activity, the vapor in the air condensed into water droplets. So these are differences are there. Now condensation, densification, sublimation. The process of changing of water vapor in air into water is called condensation or densification. That means what? The process of changing of water vapor in the air into water is called condensation or densification. That means student, the process of changing of water vapor in the air into liquid state, that is water, is called densification, and densification leads to precipitation on the surface of the earth. Also, the process of vapor gas changing into solid state is called sublimation. Means the process of changing water vapor in the air into solid state, that is snow, is called sublimation, because it is changing water vapor in the air into solid state, that is snow, is called sublimation, and sublimation leads to snowfall on the surface of the earth. Understood that? If the temperature of the air reduce, its vapor holding capacity also reduce. Remember that if the temperature of the air reduce, its vapor holding capacity also reduce. When relative humidity of the air becomes 100%, vapor start condensing. And see that when relative humidity of the air becomes 100%, vapor start condensing. At this time, the temperature of the air should be at dew point, and that means air should be at the dew point. It implies that for condensation, temperature should be low and relative humidity must be high. So it is very important that student, that it implies that for condensation, temperature should be low and for relative humidity must be high. In the free environment, condensation of the vapor in the air occurs around fine particles, that is dust, salt, etc. in the air. That is very important, and you should know about that. Now see, the dew, frost and fog are forms of condensation at ground level, while clouds are at forms of condensation at higher elevation. See the student, dew means what? Tiny drops of water that forms in on cool surface at night, where atmospheric pressure, that means vapor, condenses. Example, the grass was wet with dew. You can see about that. And frost means what? A deposit of small white ice crystals formed on the ground. And fog means what? A cloud-like mass or layer of minute water droplets. That means, or we can say the ice crystals near the surface of the earth, appreciably reducing visibility. So dew, frost and fog are the forms of condensation at ground level, while clouds are a forms of condensation at higher elevation. Types of clouds. Clouds are a form of condensation at higher elevation. Always remember, there is a difference between fog and smog. Fog is made of vapor in the air only. Smog is the combination of dust particles of polluted air in the region and fog. So see that condensation occur around minute particles in the atmosphere. Condensed water or snow particles in the cloud are very fine and almost weightless. That means condensed water or snow particles in the cloud are very fine and almost weightless, and so clouds float in the air, means move in the air. See the student, that raindrop, figure 3.7 raindrop. See raindrop maximum diameter 5 mm, Can you see that fine particles arrow and condensed water particles in the clouds? See that land and water get heated because of the heat of the sun. You all know that our earth planet, from the sun only we are getting the heat and light. So land and water get heated because of the heat of the sun. Air near the surface heat up, rises and becomes less dense. And what happens that when air near the surface heat up, rises and becomes less dense? Hot air rises up as it goes higher. The temperature of the air reduces and the moisture holding capacity of the air reduces. And that is very important, student, that hot air rises up means which are the hot air, it rises up as it goes higher. The temperature of the air reduces and the moisture holding capacity of the air reduces. Relative humidity keeps increasing. The water vapor in the atmosphere turns into water and snow. And this way what happens that the water vapor in the atmosphere turns into water and snow. This is the dew point level of that air. The level of condensation is determined by water vapor in the air. Keep in mind that the freezing point is also dependent on the altitude and water vapor. And that is also very important, that the freezing point is also dependent on the altitude and water vapor. Because of condensation, fine particles of the ice and water floats in the air at a greater heights. You know, student, that because of the condensation, fine particles of ice and water float in the air at a greater height. They accumulate around dust particles in the air and becomes larger in size. That means they accumulate around dust particles in the air and becomes large in size. Their accumulation together is called a cloud, and that accumulation we can say together is called a cloud. Because of vertical flow of the wind, they float in the atmosphere. Because it is vertical flow of wind, they float in the atmosphere like a kite which float in the air. We see the kite, how the kite float in the air as it moves higher and higher. Same with the clouds too float in the atmosphere because of the vertical flow. How we see the like a kite which move in the air as it moves higher and higher. And same way the cloud too float in the atmosphere because of the vertical flow. Students, figure 3.8 types of cloud. Can you see that low altitude, medium altitude and a high altitude? See the figure 3.8 types of cloud. How the types of clouds are there? Clouds are found at different altitudes above mean sea level. Clouds which form at greater altitudes are formed from very fine snow particles. The process of evaporation and condensation occurs consequently in the clouds. Specific types of cloud causes rainfall on the earth, and this way specific type of clouds causes rainfall on earth. The proportion of vapor is more near the earth's surface. As we go higher away from the sea level, the amount of vapor decreases. That means what is very important, student, that the proportion of vapor is more near the earth's surface. Near the earth's surface it is very more. But as we go higher away from the sea level, the amount of vapor started to decreasing. Hence the clouds at a lower altitude are larger in size. So this way the clouds at a lower altitude are larger, bigger in size, while the clouds at a higher altitudes are smaller. That is different. See that table is given here, cloud types according to international classification. So see the number is also given, that types of clouds and general altitudes, how the height is their meter. Cirrus, cirrostratus and cirrocumulus, 7,000 to 14,000. Can you see that their altitude? Afterward, alto stratus, altocumulus, that both are the 2,000 to 7,000. And stratocumulus, stratus and nibostratus less than 2,000. And cumulus and cumulonimbus extent cloud be variable. So this way the types of clouds are, it is classified different their altitudes. Can you see about that? That means cirrus, cirrostratus and cirrocumulus 7,000 to 14,000, their height altitudes are there. And altostratus and altocumulus, these two 2,000 to 7,000, stratocumulus and stratus and nimbus less than 2000, and cumulus and cumulonimbus, the extent could be variable. Clouds are formed at different altitudes in the atmosphere. After observation, we can divide this cloud into three main types on the basis of their altitudes. The height from the, that means it was divided in three main parts. By when we observe that, we can divide this cloud into three main parts basis of their altitudes. The height from the base of the clouds is taken into consideration. If the clouds are at an altitude of 7,000 to 14,000, then they are considered as very high clouds. So you can see about that their height is 7,000, 40,000. You can come to about that they are considered as very high clouds. If they are an altitude of around 2,000 to 7,000 meter, then they are considered to be medium clouds. If they are at an altitude of less than 2,000, means they are low clouds. And this way, three parts it was divided: low, medium, and high clouds. So that we can see here picture, see that low altitudes, medium altitudes, and high altitudes. Okay, student, that understood that how why we can say the low clouds, why we can say the medium, and why we can say the high. So first we learn about the high clouds. These clouds are mainly made up of ice particles. They can be classified into cirrus, cirrocumulus, and cirrostratus. Cirrus clouds are mainly wispy. Cirrocumulus clouds look like group of small waves. You see the waves. And cirrostratus are like a bed sheet or with wrinkles. Just like it look like a bed sheet with wrinkles, they generally have a halo around them, and they generally have a halo around them. And next is medium clouds. These clouds, altocumulus and altostratus, these two are the medium clouds. Altocumulus are in the form of layer and have a wave-like structure. We see the wave now, how the wave-like structure it look like that, and they are mostly white in color and have a gray shade. It look like white in color and have a gray shade. Altostratus are not very thick. The sun can be seen through them as if seen through a milky glass. And this way, that means they are mostly white in color and have a gray shade. And altostratus are not very thick. The sun can be seen through them as if seen through a milky glass. Now that low cloud, this consists of 5 types of clouds. So see the student, this consists of 5 types of clouds. Stratocumulus have layer. Their color is white to earthy, means soil color. White to earthy. Round clusters of clouds can be here. Stratus cloud also have layer. They are ash color and their base is uniform. And nimbostratus has thick layer. They are gray ash in color and causes continuous rainfall and even snowfall. And they are gray ash, that means nimbostratus has a thick layer, student. They are gray ash in color and causes continuous rainfall and even snowfall also. See student, give it try, totally cancel. Now see the cumulus clouds. These clouds are formed extensively from 500 meter to 6,000 meter altitudes. That means it was extensively formed from 500 meter to 6,000 meter altitudes. The vertical flow of the air adds in the to the formation of these clouds. It is vertical flow of the air add with help of the air to the formation of these clouds. These are huge and dome shape. Means huge. It is huge and dome shape, round shape. We can say about dome shape. They are in green color. It is in the gray color. Cumulus clouds are an indicator of pleasant weather. The vertical expanse of these clouds increases so much that they turn into cumulonimbus cloud and bring rain. See the students, the vertical expanse of these clouds increases so much that they turn into cumulonimbus clouds and bring rain. And because of this, it was bringing the rain. Now cumulonimbus clouds, these are characteristic clouds which are indicator of thunderstorm. This look like huge mountain. It was look like a huge mountain, big mountains. They are dense and dark in color. It was look like a dense and dark in color. There is thunder accompanied by lightning. Lightning also comes sound. They bring rain and storm and may sometimes bring hailstone also. And they bring the rain and storms and sometimes they bring the hailstone. But such a type of rain does not last long. Means it was bringing the rain and storm, but sometimes they bring the hailstorm also. But student is these types of rain does not last long. Means for less time only it was happens. So this way, but such a type of rain does not last long. See figure 3.9, we see about that. Okay student. So use your brain power is totally cancelled. It is not in the syllabus. These clouds bring rainfall accompanied with lightning. The top portion of these clouds has an anvil-like shape. That means student, top portion of these clouds has an anvil-like shape. The cloud have a positive charge at the upper end and negative charge at the lower end. The land below them always has negative charge. Due to difference in the charges, electric charges are formed and lightning up the sky for a moment. Means for a moment we see that in the sky there will be light. The air around the lightning rises up because of the heat and this leads to a large thundering sound. And you know student that air around the lightning rises up and because of the heat what happened that this lead to a large thundering sound, which sound will be, we can see the thundering sound. As compared to other clouds, the raindrop of these clouds are larger because they move up and down a lot of times and accumulate more and more water. What is the main reasons are the student? As compared to other clouds, the raindrop of these clouds are larger, means larger in size, and because they move up and down a lot of times and accumulate more and more water, drops become larger and are unable to float in the clouds. Because drops are very larger in size and this way they are unable to float, move in the clouds because of their weight. They fall in the form of rain and this way they fall in the form of rain. Sometimes the air in the clouds is very cold, but sometimes what we see about that, the air in the clouds is very cold. As a result, these drops freeze and fall in the form of hail. We call them hailstone. That means students say that sometimes the air in the clouds is very cold and because of cold that what happened that as a result these drops freeze and fall in the form of hail. We call them hailstones. See the diagram, see the picture that 3.9, cumulonimbus clouds. Direction of the flow of cloud. See the upper means the cloud have a positive charge at the upper end and a negative charge at the lower end. Can you see the student? Positive plus sign, negative, see that, and this is a diagram of the figure 3.9 cumulonimbus clouds. Okay student, and see that this use your brain power is totally cancelled in your syllabus. It is not there. And do you know also cancel, that is also not in your syllabus. Now student, you have to, that means see the assignment I am giving to assignment exercise. Question number 1, match the column and complete the chain. Question number 2, choose the correct words from the brackets and complete the sentence. Question number 3, differentiate between. And question number 5, give geographical reason. All these are the assignments I am giving to you. Student, you have to do this homework. Read this lesson twice and I hope that you understood this lesson. Thank you.